familiar with the conversation that Nicki Minaj had with Kevin Samuels earlier. And during that conversation, she basically encouraged women to not spend so much time focusing on men, but instead to focus on themselves, right? To focus on their career, focus on their passions, to become successful, to live their best life. Here's my question. Can women actually afford to be single? Can women actually afford to focus on themselves? So here's the thing. I think many of us today, especially many of us modern women, we are encouraged and we are told that, hey, we're better off when we live single, live by ourselves, focus on ourselves, do our own thing, don't worry about marriage, don't worry about family, don't worry about any of that, and just focus on us, just do us. But the problem is, in reality, most women, even if they take that route, are not really bossing up like that. They're not really making hella money. They're not really bringing in the dough, racking in the dough like that. And I think, honestly, when we start looking at, like celebrities, when we start letting celebrities giving us relationship advice or giving us advice on how to navigate life, the problem is they're in a completely different reality, a completely different paradigm. I'm not saying that Nicki Minaj hasn't struggled financially, you know what I mean, where she came from. Obviously, she had her own struggles, but she's now in a place in her life financially to where she has the luxury to do certain things and navigate in a certain way that your average person doesn't. And, when she made that comment, she's acting as if the majority of women are about to be over here being successful. And when we actually look at what women are making, just what Americans are making, period, but especially women, that is far different than the reality. So if you don't believe me, let's just look really briefly at what the stats are saying. Recently, the U.S. Census Bureau, they posted some of their information. They posted what people are making. And what we see when we look at that information is that right now your average person is making just about $42,000, right? I mean, give or take. Of course, it's going to go up or down based upon the ethnicity, based upon the region, based upon the gender. But on average, your average person all across the board is making just around $42,000 a year, right? It's a real median income. Now, if we want to get a little bit more nitty gritty and look at women, now Black female earners in particular make just around $36,000 a year. So, despite all this boss up, level up, boss babe, Black woman in luxury, Black woman deserve luxury rhetoric, the reality is it's only about 3% of us who make six figures or more. So, again, here is my issue. My issue is that whenever we have celebrities, or whenever we have, the rich, famous, successful giving relationship advice or just giving advice for life in general, we have to remember that they are operating in a completely different paradigm. And Nicki Minaj or a Rihanna or somebody like that, they can essentially move and navigate a different way because they have the money and the resources to do so. Now, another flaw that I see with this advice is that this assumes that men are attracted to success, right? Again, she encourages women and says, hey, you should just focus on yourself, basically boss up, level up, get the career that you want, get your dream job or whatever. And then once you've made it, once you're successful, once you are at a certain point, you can get whatever man that you want. And again, that is assuming that men are attracted to accomplishments. And the reality is, most men are not. They're just not. They're just simply not. I think women, we generally are more attracted to men who are ambitious, have goals, have, acquired wealth, have acquired a certain name, notoriety. Women are attracted to that. Men, not necessarily. Men tend to be more attracted to how does a woman look? Is she cooperative? Can I get along with her? Is she easy to deal with? Is she nice? Can she cook? Does she have good hygiene? Like, men and women are attracted to different things. And I think in these conversations, we as women navigate as if men are going to be attracted or they're going to see us as higher value, I guess, in a sexual marketplace because we have a degree, and they're just simply not. And when I heard that, that was my main thing. I was like, wait, she's acting as if guys are attracted to the same thing that women are, and they're not. They're really not, y'all. I'm sorry to tell you, they're just not. He's not going to care if you got a PhD, a master's. He's going to care, how do you look in a dress? Most likely. And then lastly, if we just simply look at what's happening, what are people making? Married women, just by and large, as far as having access to a little more money, more wealth, they just tend to do better off. I mean, if we go back to the same report and we look at married couple family income, okay, we see that a married couple family income is a little bit below $82,000, right? That is the medium married couple family income. It's about $82,000. That is very, very, very different than what we discussed earlier, which is, the median earnings or the average earnings of female full-time year-round workers, which is a little below $36,000. That's a pretty big difference. And like I said, we're not even taking into account, assets. We're not even taking into account, debt, just different things like that. But generally speaking, married women just have more wealth. It just is what it is. So I'm not saying that you just got to marry somebody or seek to marry somebody just to try to get as much money as you want. That's not what I'm saying. But I think women should have a choice. I think if you are going to delay relationship, delay marriage, as if both can happen at the same time, because by the way, you can actually have a career or you can have a job and still work on relationships. It doesn't have to be either or. But besides that, let's just say you do just decide to delay marriage, or you're just like, hey, I don't want to be married at all. Okay, you got to know that there's going to be implications to that. Most women don't make it like that. Most women aren't making a ton of money. Like I said, 3% of Black women make 6 figures or more, roughly. And now you got to think about, okay, if you're sick, who's going to pay the bills? You know what I mean? If your car breaks down, okay, who's going to help you? I mean, everything's on you. Everything's on you. Now you're thinking about retirement. Are you making enough money to actually save and prepare for retirement? As a single woman, it's a little harder, if you're making around $36,000 a year. It's a little harder. So again, these are just all the different things. Not to mention that, Black women are 1/3 of us are at or below the poverty line. 1/3 of us. And then again, if you are a single Black woman and you decide, or a single woman period, and you decide that you're not going to get married, but in the process of doing so, you get knocked up and you have a baby, best believe your chances of gaining any kind of wealth or any kind of financial security goes way, way, way down. So this is the kind of stuff that you got to know. You can definitely try to boss up, level up as a single person, not focus on marriage, not do whatever, but you got to know that there's going to be real life implications of that, at the very least on a financial level. It just is what it is. Now, if you decide to marry, of course, there's other things associated with that. Marriage has its own challenges. It has its own difficulties, but there is a financial security at the very least, and it just makes things a little bit easier. It does make it easier if you want to try to gain wealth, if you want to try to be a little bit more secure. Not to mention, God forbid, you get sick, you lose a job, or you're without work. You have somebody else there to work with you, or you have kids and you don't want to work, and maybe you're in a scenario where you budget right, you can stay at home or at the very least work part-time. So I mean, you just have more support. But we can't act like bossing up, being single, leveling up, it's just a dream. That's a grind. That's a struggle. And certain women, yes, are really able to do it and able to do successfully. But like I said, now when they get to the point that they've gotten to a certain level and now they're ready to settle down, they're going to have a different kind of problem, which is now finding the men that they find attractive and making sure that those men are attracted to them. Because like I said, men are driven more by looks and youth, not necessarily by careers. And so that alone, delaying marriage and relationship to when you're older, that alone is going to put you in a different dating bracket, a different dating relationship bracket. And are you prepared for that? Are you prepared to, retire by yourself? Are you prepared to make sure that you have the money that you need, the resources that you need to handle and take care of yourself to the very end? Are you prepared to do that? Because that's actually what it's going to take if we really want to do, the single boss up, level up game. And I think so often we kind of throw these things around and we push these ideas, and we don't always talk about the implications of what that's going to mean. And like I said, you can do it. You can do it. But let's not pretend like it's easy. And let's not pretend like all of us are going to be walking around being successful like Nicki Minaj, because that's just not going to happen. But what do you think? I mean, do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know what you think. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening. If you've gotten this far, I'm Chez, Chardé, and I tackle tough topics with the truth. And we will talk later. Bye.